Oh my god! An anime that does not have Takemichi in it. Oh my god, this is so good. Windbreaker episode 1 review. So I just finished watching the first episode of Windbreaker, and oh my god, I gotta tell you, it feels so amazing, okay, to watch an anime, a high school fighting anime that does not have a Takemichi character. Oh, the last time I watched Tokyo Revengers, I dropped it, okay? It was one of the few shows that I actually dropped because I was like, I don't want to keep watching this man bitch and moan. I don't want to keep watching this man bitch and moan, okay? Let him do his thing. He's from the future, and he can't do anything in the past with his future knowledge. Like, point is, that doesn't exist in Windbreaker. Oh my god, the first episode it's such a breath of fresh air. It's a main character that's more of a tsundere than he is. It's built into that because he just like every other tsundere, they not much love, and so when someone's giving them love, he just cannot handle it, blushing through his face and all that kind of nonsense. It's great. I do love the first episode, and where they showed it off, the animation, good god, that surprised me. Like, what is this animation? I was surprised because I had been hearing about Windbreaker this whole time. I'm a little bit late to the party, but it's been out for a while, and now we're in episode 7 already. I've only seen episode 1, and episode 1 is a great, nice start. It takes everything that is a part of like a high school fighting anime, just to start it out with, to give us a good grasp of the main character's personality. Is a tsundere. It's very easy to understand, but it's great because the way it starts out is a great visual representation of being on a tightrope where you will eventually fall. A tightrope all alone, and it's such a great visual representation as you just watch him slowly move across this tightrope, almost about to fall, right? And so you understand what that visual representation meant when you get further and further into the episode, where he starts to explore that vulnerable side of our main character. He's great at fighting, but he's alone, and the reason he's alone is because of the way he looks. It's reminding me of this old anime that I used to watch back in the day, Tomodachi something. It's a similar situation where he was born with half blonde and half black hair, right? And so everyone thought he was a delinquent, and so he had no friends. Then he created a club where we were going to make friends and do friends stuff. So there was another person that joined his club. Point is, it's a really old anime. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's a great anime. It reminds me a little bit of that, but in a little bit more serious tone. Because that one was comedic. It was on the comedic side, but it did sort of do the exact same thing where he looked like a delinquent, wasn't actually one. Here, he looked like a delinquent and he fights like one. So it sort of fits that bill. Now, the overall world of Windbreaker I do not know yet, because we've only just seen the base, where he is, the school he's a part of, which is great, and what they represent in the neighborhood. How the turf wars are gonna work, I don't know. They didn't really explain much besides the main character, which I'm assuming now that I'm watching this, I realize that this may be a character-based story rather than it being the setting or the idea based like it was with Tokyo Revengers, where it was more focused on the idea rather than on the I mean, it did focus on characters as well, right? I'm only going based off of the early episodes because I stopped at like episode 15 and I didn't go any further than that. I didn't read the manga at all, so I don't know what happens later, or do they develop further on these characters. But this one seems to be doing more of that because they already set the scene. It's this neighborhood that is being protected by the school that's part of that neighborhood. That's sort of the scene being set. And so whenever a gang war or turf war is happening within there, they must be ready to face off the members of that school, right? So that's what they do. They protect the neighborhood, and the people like them in the neighborhood. He realizes, and it's such a great, in the way the music played off of his confliction with what he's seeing in front of him, right? Delinquents that look just like him, right? With the weird hairstyle, with the weird eye, and the weird clothes, right? Someone that looks like him is being praised for the only thing they can do, which is fighting. And it's great, right? The way they played on that music and his confliction. He's a great main character so far. He carries it. He's not entirely serious. He's also not entirely comedic, or he's not entirely a punching bag like Takamichi. They're out of the character. Okay, they're out of the character. The reason why a good comparison would be to Kamen Rider Geats that I'm currently watching at the moment as well. That's why it's a good comparison in my head. The one fault that I have with Kamen Rider Geats, it's a minor thing, but it's a fault that I do have with it, which they do build up on and eventually fix, which is later down the line in later episodes. If you've watched Kamen Rider Geats, you know what I'm talking about. The one thing that I'm talking about is that our main character, or our main writer, rather than our main character, is our main writer. He's not that he's too serious, but he emotes very little, right? Only later down the line do you see him emote more and more. And that was sort of my problem with Geats at the start, where he doesn't emote. He's just a plank of wood, right? That just does everything. He's closer to a Gary Stu than anything else in Kamen Rider Geats. He doesn't have that. So that's why I'm saying he doesn't have that with Kamen Rider Geats has. What he has essentially is the tsundere, but also that wildfire type personality that he does have, which is great for this type of story, right? Where then he would be playing off well against other characters with a more stoic appearance, right? He would play nice off of those characters, and that's why main characters like that usually work really well, because they would easily be able to play off other character archetypes, and so using this makes sense when I wanted to make it play off of other character archetypes. When you have a stoic archetype, then you have to have a character that is less that, so that they play off well of each other. It's more interesting. It's a much more interesting dynamic, rather than it being both stoic and that's it, or both crybabies and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Because they do have that in Tokyo Revengers, right? Don't get me wrong, they do have that in Tokyo Revengers. The issue there is you focus far too much on the crybaby aspect than you do on there's no balancing there. This is why this one works. We haven't seen any of the other major characters just yet. It's only episode 1, and I'm really excited to see what happens. It completely surprised me, so I'm very excited to see what they pull out of their pants next. You know what I'm saying? For episode 2.